For the last couple of months, we've been camping almost every weekend. And every year we add something new to our gear list. And this year we added this Modern Innovations camping oven that we found on Amazon. And we bought this one because it was cheaper than the Coleman one. And so I thought it can't be that much different. So we've been using it basically every trip, and we've been making brownies. And so today I'm gonna show you what we've learned about how just to use it better. And I'm gonna make some brownies, some double chocolate brownies, just using this camping oven that I have. So I'm gonna go over some of the ways that we have found to make this oven work really well. And it does work great. So let's make some brownies and I'll show you what we have learned. So let's start by putting this oven together. It's real simple, it all just folds together. So as you can see, it's empty right there, hollow. And you just fold the bottom down and there's little clips that connect it. So push that up. And you will lock it in, but it doesn't take much. And then on the top, you'll just pull the top piece up, and just like that, it locks together. And then the grate fits right in here to these little notches on the side. So let's real quick just show what it does. And this right here is a lock that locks the top. There's these little clips right here where it just pushes through like that, and it's all set. And on the front has a thermometer built in, and then the grates on the inside just connect. But what I'm gonna do is I brought my smoking thermometer and I'm gonna put it inside here, and we're gonna see how accurate this outside thermometer really is today. But let's put together our brownie mix real quick. All right, we are at our house, but I am going to use all of our camping gear like we normally make it. So one thing we decided to do was just to buy these disposable aluminum pans from Walmart. This one's been crushed. Because if you do end up burning it, it's just hard to clean. And this you can just throw away when you're done. But we do give it a little bit of a spray to get ready. And then I have our camping equipment, and we're gonna take this out and get a bowl real quick. So this set does work really well. We had another pan for it, we just lost it. But it has a little waterproof container to wash dishes in. And one thing we have found that works really well is to bring our water and oil in a container pre-mixed. So this is just pre-mixed from our house, like that. We'll pour it in. And then I do have one of these egg carriers, and I never thought I would actually use it, but we take it all the time now, and it doesn't break any of our eggs. All the stuff that we camp with, we'll put in the description, but so it's an egg. And then we got our fork. We'll mix it all up in there. And then we're going to use brownie mix. And we really like the Ghirardelli. It is hot out today, so if I was camping, I would have to be near water. But we really like this, and using mix is really just the only way to make brownies, because it gets that crust on top that's hard. All right, so we're gonna mix the brownies in. And here's our GSI outdoor gear, but this thing right here, this is probably our most used spoon. It's a silicone spatula on the bottom, and we use this all weekend. We actually have like 3 of them, or 2 of them that we always use because it's very useful. And we're just going to mix this up right here, and then we'll let it sit for a minute while we heat up our stove, get it ready to cook. So there we go. There's our chocolate all mixed. See, that does not take very long. And now let's clean all this up. I am using a Coleman table. It is nice to have an extra table because some campgrounds you only have one picnic table. And if you have a stove, it's nice just to put the stove on the table. So we'll let this sit for a minute and let's pick up our stove. We have a Campchef propane stove that works really well. It really just has two settings, hot and not hot. And you just take the propane, screw it in the side right here, and then we'll put in our propane tank. We put our oven on the stove. Another thing we've learned is to move your grate all the way to the top if you can when you're making brownies so the bottom doesn't cook. So there's another clip all the way up here and we're gonna put it way up top. And now let's pour our brownies into our container. They've been sitting for about a minute or so. We're gonna put it in. And I really like this silicone spoon. Probably could have let it sit in here just to let it level out a little bit, but there we go. All right, before I light this stove, I'm going to put in this smoker thermometer that I have and to check the temperature inside of the oven. So I think I'm just going to clip it to the bottom right here, and that should stay right there pretty well to give us an idea on how hot the inside of this oven is. And one thing I like about this stove, you just turn the gas, it has an automatic ignition. Press the button and it's lit. Now we'll put our brownie mix in all the way at the top. And we'll close the door. We can monitor the heat from our other thermostat right here. So our goal is to keep this stove around 325 and we'll check on it for the next little bit. All right, we've had it in for about a minute or two and this says 521 and this says 275. So what I'm gonna do is turn this stove all the way down so that it's barely heating. And now we're gonna run about 40 minutes. It says to cook it about 45 minutes, but we found that you go a little bit less, about 40 minutes, and it comes out perfectly. So that's the hope today. It is also really hot out here, so it keeps turning off the camera, but hopefully we can get through this. And we are at 499 inside and 300. So there is almost a 200-degree temperature difference between this thermometer at the top of the oven and this probe on the grate at the top of the oven. So what we want to do is try to keep it as low as we can. We're supposed to keep this at about 325, and so we keep this oven as low as we can. And I've learned if it gets too hot, you can open it, but this gets really hot. So one of my biggest things about this oven is this door gets hot. We are at 10 minutes in. Our external thermometer says 376, and the one on here says 300. So it's safe to say been about 50 degrees hotter inside than what this says, at least according to this thermometer. And this is a ThermoPro, which I like this. It has a Bluetooth and you can like watch the graph when you're smoking meats and different things. But I'm using it for this. And it's just used as an app, so you don't even have to be near it. You can watch it from somewhere else and it'll show the graph going up and down. But I have my stove about down as far as I can to not get too much heat into there. Let it keep going for a little bit and we'll keep checking on it. I can smell the brownies. It smells amazing right now. So it's only gonna get better. But we want to undercook it so that we don't burn it because it is cooking hot. But we'll be back in a few minutes. We are at 31 minutes. So let's take out these brownies. I'm gonna turn off this oven. So this says about 275 and this says 331 down here. And it's hot to get this out. I do have a little cutting board and this thermometer that I'm going to use. And look at that. Would you look at that? Look at those brownies right there. So now we're gonna let it cool for a little bit and then we'll cut them open. But it's got a nice crust on top. The bottom doesn't look burned. It pulled away from the edges a little bit. And there we go. Ah, and there we go. So I'm gonna go let these cool. All right, look at the top of this. That's got a nice crust on top. Cooked all the way through Temperature reads 210, 214, so it's hot. It's definitely cooked. So one of the things we've learned is you want to cook your brownies all the way at the top, and it's nice that it can slide right through there. You don't want it towards the bottom or it just burns the bottom like the first time we did it. So it gives you a little bit of more leeway from burning the bottom. All right, our brownies are done. And now, like any normal person, I really can't wait for them to completely cool down. So I'm gonna go through my camping utensils and I'm gonna use this spatula right here. And we're going to find a corner and we're going to test it out because corner piece, so look at that, came right off, look at that. No burns, cooked all the way through. Oh, that's perfect. So some things I would recommend, that oven is hotter than the thermometer on it says by about 50 to 60 degrees. So keep that in mind. Also, I cooked these brownies 10 minutes less than they needed in that oven. So cooking it less is probably a good idea. And it's also a good idea to have a thermometer just to double check whatever you're cooking to make sure it's safe. But this oven has been absolutely just amazing and fun to have. And so now we've made brownies. And now I think I might try to make biscuits. I have yet to make biscuits in it. I guess I'll probably use the same type of pan, which would be another recommendation, to use the same pan that you can throw away if you end up burning it. But I might do some biscuits, and I gotta think of some other ideas of things I wanna cook. I'm not really sure what yet I want to cook. If you were interested in watching or seeing how well this worked, it worked really well. I will link everything in the description because I can, but it's not sponsored, nothing like that. Just something we picked up. But yeah, it's been working really well and it's been worth every penny for us. Have a great day and see you next time. I'm gonna go eat some brownies.